Today we're playing Deep𐕣Root Delta, which is an RPG Maker horror game where the mycelium grows and you have a purpose you must fulfill by researching plants and other things. Question mark, question mark, question mark, dot dot dot, or ellipsis. Almost done. At least still a moment more. Your calmness is commendable. You too must have realized that resistance is futile. Any sign of struggle would have interfered with the process and brought you unnecessary pain. You've done good in your compliance. Though I must remind you again, I have no means of sanitization. Try your best not to catch an infection. With the quietest snap, the piece comes off cleanly. The creature laying on the operating table does not as much as glance at it. You cannot feel a thing in that area, am I right? The nerves have died off, just like I told you they would. Carefully handling the piece, I wrap it in a dusty cloth and place it in a jar filled with water. Upon closing the lid with a marker that has almost run dry, I run on the label the first term to come in the moment. Armillaria. Do get used to being called this name. Fortunately, you are in no position for chatting, for there are other matters I must attend. This piece of you might end up being the answer I seek. If that ends up being the case, your shallow existence may be considered justified. For now, you're to stay here and not make a sound. The fourth moon has arrived. There is much work to be done. Ooh, 4 days left. That is enough resting. I must proceed with my task. My name, settled upon for the sake of identification, is Quatre. My real title, my purpose, is burrower of fibrous... or is it fibrous? Of fibrous roots. Since the moment of my creation, my position in the universe's grand scheme was settled. There is, however, one task I must fulfill before I can fill in that role. Whenever I feel prepared, I shall resume my work. Let's save first. A box filled with latex gloves. Sanitization can hardly be considered part of my workflow. Instead, it is the risk of contact with my skin that could preclude the process. A skeleton model. Even now I can spot bits of flesh I failed to clean. Yikes. Books on botany. Books on mycology. That's shrooms. The solution is vegetal, I am certain of it. Resume work? No. An oil lamp, the only source of light in this room. Underneath are various pages I ripped out of botany books. They all display information about the nature of roots. Because we're the burrower, I think that's what they said? Or fibrous? I still don't know. Like, internally I want to call them fibrous. But it's like fiber, right? I don't know, this is not a word that I encounter in my day-to-day life, okay? Various tools that have aided me with my studies. As many other things in this chamber, they have begun collecting dust. A variety of chemical mixes. A cabinet filled with jars. Is this like exit? There's no need for me to leave this chamber. Where's the patient we were operating on? Nutrition and growth. Figure 1, successive stages of growth of a hyphal tip drawn at half-hour intervals. Gelicinospora Calospora ver autosteria. fungi obtain their food either by infecting living organisms as parasites or by attacking dead organic matters as saprobes. The majority of known fungi, whether normally parasitic or not, are capable of living on dead organic material, as shown by the fact that we can grow them artificially on synthetic media. Fungi which live on dead matter and are incapable of infecting living organisms are known as obligate saprobes. I think that's how you pronounce it. I really don't know. Those capable of causing disease or of living on dead organic matter, according to circumstances, are known as facultative parasites. And those which cannot live except off of living protoplasm are known as obligate parasites. A living organism infected by a parasite is known as the host. It is probable that when we learn more about the physiology of the fungi, we shall be able to devise synthetic media on which to grow all the so-called obligate parasites. There was plenty of progress. I seem to be reaching the expected result faster than anticipated. The task at hand, the threshold of justifying my existence, is realizing a means of eradicating nothingness. What the heck does that mean? Nothingness is, as anyone aware of it will tell you, a force of nature standing in opposition with existence itself. This is like death? As slow as it is consistent, it corrodes the space we inhabit in every sense, leaving out hollow spots to fill in, making the tiniest of changes to the natural course of events a butterfly effect that can turn worlds uninhabitable. For nothingness to exist, we must not. For us to exist, nothingness must not. Existence in conflict with non-existence, to be at war with not to be. My species, the equilators, have been devoted to suppressing nothingness from times as old as time itself. The fulfillment of our purposes is an effort to keep nothingness astray. I don't think it's death then, because it sounds more like a supernatural force. And yet, once in a moon, an equilator of extraordinary importance is created. That equilator, upon the completion of its purpose, is destined to. Well, it is not necessary for me to tell you that part, is it? You, who has watched my entire existence, know exactly why you have created me. The mycelium grows. 3 days left. The effort from earlier was greater than anticipated. I have lost track of how long I have rested for. I must return to my work. There is no time to waste. I don't require sleep, so my brief moments of rest consist of laying down on this table. No. Let's just resume work. Botany. Figure 1, illustration of the difference in the external forms of the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms. You have mineral kingdom, quartz. I cannot read that word. It says, X something of crystals. Is it example of crystal? So it's Ixa of crystals? I can't read it. Vegetable kingdom. Rhododendron? And then there's just something called box? What kind of plant is just called box? So for the animal kingdom, we have some kind of fish that says shrat or shret. I cannot read that. It's still too blurred for me. The thrush, and then human vigor, who looks like they're in despair. Concerns itself with the study of plants. It is an empirical science. Boundary lines can be easily drawn between the higher plants and the higher animals, but the line of demarcation is difficult to define when the lower forms of life are under consideration. Plants and animals are built up of protoplasm. The tree of life is a forked one. Difference between living and non-living bodies. Non-living. 1. Either of no definite shape or crystalline. 2. Cannot reproduce their kind. 3. Cannot take in food and can only grow from the outside. Living. 1. Their shape is definite. 2. Can reproduce their kind. 3. Can take in food and grow internally. The one object of the plant is to reproduce its kind. I think that's what it said. Quatre. Not this again. What does it want this time? Save. This is a linear game, so it's not like our options matter. Leave to study? No. Go back to sleep. Sure. What you want? Armillaria. Wow, she looks pretty bad. This is Armillaria, the human I'm currently collecting body parts from. At the moment, the only body part removed is the jaw, but if necessity arises, it will be the provider. Armillaria, I believe I told you to stay in the surgery room. How did you free yourself and unlock the door? You silly, what is it that you're looking for? An exit? There is no exit. No one who entered my room has ever left. Do you have the faintest clue how grave your distractions are? You cannot begin to comprehend what a tremendous task I must achieve. I should not be spending my time dealing with the likes of you. Malaria. Is she like semi-transparent? Maybe not. Malaria. What do you think these actions will result in? I'm inquiring with genuine curiosity. For you see, I am in doubt that an animal such as yourself could ever understand the bother you're being at the moment. What is it? What are you hoping to achieve? The fulfillment of some innate desire, the only thing your kind can ever hope to achieve? For as long as it lives, a human will achieve nothing. It will try, or at least it will pretend to, but there will be no meaningful result. Your life, a fleeting moment in the grand scheme of the universe. Nothing in it will ever justify bothering the great design of my existence. Trying to adopt a less threatening stance, I bury my hands in the depths of my pockets. I really do not enjoy raising my tone. The strain it brings to my throat is simply unpleasant. Within that worthless slab of meat you call a brain, resentment might be brewing. I'm not blind to the idea of you hating me, nor am I blind to the reason why. But at some point, even unknowingly, you will thank me. You will live to eat from the fruit of my labor. I beg of you, with all the solid capacity your feeble flesh can muster, to consider that possibility. Maybe then you will see reason and stop distracting me from my very important work. Oof. And with the wooden baton I have been grasping at, I give it a swift hit to the head. Armillaria falls on the ground, limp as a corpse. Though, of course, the hit was not strong enough to reduce it to such a thing. While the time it shall take to wake up is plenty, this will not solve the problem permanently. Removal of further body parts and murder are out of the question. There is no telling whether its assistance will be required further and in what state. Keeping it tied up in the surgery room has done me no good, but for the time being, it shall suffice. I lack the time to concern myself with such matters for long. With a sigh, I pick up Armillaria's body. I understand your reasons, but I must say this has been a troubling circumstance you put me in. You must have known the burden you placed on me. There must have been a reason. as to why I reached maturity the moment I was created. If there is one thing the equilialter species is, it is curious. Our need to learn is as strong as a human's need to eat or breathe. An infant, equilialter, can learn through a mere glance. The more they observe something, the further they understand it. How it is shaped and why, how it is constructed and why, how it is used and why. It is an inherent ability exclusive to this stage of infancy. So then, what happens to an equilialter born in maturity? They are obligated to study things through their own efforts. How is something constructed? How does it work? Once the surface level is known, the inner machinations follow. Cut it open, discover what the inside entails. That is what I have been doing with the people who enter my room. At first, their freshly deceased body offered much to study, but that was still just an upper layer of knowledge. Next up, I had to discover its natural grand design, how the insides work while alive, the beating of the heart, the struggle of the muscle tissue, the mitotical division of the cells. Is this part of my righteous task as well? Have I been given a trial to face as a display of my worth? For many, many years I have not hesitated. I would like to believe that my efforts will not be in vain. After I'm done with tying up Armillaria, I seriously need to lay down a couple of moments. The mycelium grows, 2 days left. I find myself fatigued by all this work again. Even so, slowing down must not be as much as considered. Once again, I ready myself to work on... You have got to be kidding me. Now, I suspect that our protagonist is just crazy because they weren't born normal because they skipped the knowledge step, the infancy. They're just kind of crazy because they're at a disadvantage compared to everyone else. So instead, they're just like, yes, I will now dissect a bunch of humans who come into my ground hole. How would this work? Unfortunately, I must go check on it once more. Is there anything in our pockets? Oh, I guess I was there this whole time. Armillaria. What could you possibly knock on this door for? I believe I made myself clear about how busy I am. That's such a sassy look for someone who doesn't have a jaw anymore. Something is different today. It is facing me with a curious expectancy, a slight annoyance in its eyes. I am unable to read minds. Armillaria. Is there like a typo here? If you want something, you will have to be more explicit. She can't talk anymore because you took her jaw. How is she gonna do it? Seemingly forgetful to the existence of its hands, it leans its head forward a couple times, pointing to the room behind me. You want to go into my study? What could you possibly get out of that? I hardly care if you're bored. I have infinitely more concerning matters to attend to. Your distressed face does not impress me. I am uninterested in whatever your intentions are. On one hand, I do not wish to have my attention withdrawn from my busy work. Having to watch over such a reckless being will undoubtedly hinder the process, something I cannot afford at the moment. On the other hand, I know better than to assume Armillaria will allow me to work in peace, not in this antsy state it found itself in. Within the confines of my surveillance, I do believe finding it a task to keep it busy could be beneficial. Alright, to give in. You may enter, but mess with anything, and your life will be cut short in an instant. With no excitement to speak of, Armillaria noiselessly enters the study room. I let out a sigh as I closed the door behind me. Well, here we are. We ended up going your way, now what? Were you looking for an exit? Stairs to climb up to the surface? A door you must will into existence? Such things simply do not exist in this place. You could start digging up with your bare hands, and you would have torn your hands apart before reaching sunlight. Although, for the brief things your kind has told me, I cannot imagine the sunlight as desirable anymore. Please, do not tell me you have put on that insistence just to stand there and stare. You are so incredibly strange, Armillaria. Your every action is incomprehensible to the sane mind. Trying to rationalize the thoughts of an animal is a hopeless demand. This is an obvious time sink. And time is the one thing I lack. I should get back to my task. What you want, man? Just leave. Just save. What in the... I could not begin to organize my very thoughts as Armillaria came up behind me and, well, I cannot assert its intentions precisely. It has begun rubbing its teeth onto my shoulder. Its head oscillates, teeth attempting to penetrate the integrity of my coat. I could almost assume that it is trying to bite me, but with the lack of a jaw, such a thing becomes impossible. What are you doing? Naturally, I get no response, and neither does it stop. I am completely oblivious as to your intentions, but I would advise against doing this. Even though there are layers in between, be warned, any kind of contact with my skin will kill you in seconds. Even after such a direct threat, Armillaria carries on, as if I was not specifically talking in a language it would understand. To be honest, I think if you were missing your jaw, maybe, that's a miserable state to be in. She probably just wants to die. While I was trying to comprehend the situation, a strange sensation coursed down my arm. Is that drool? Armillaria's teeth, so determined to bite through my shoulders, are losing stability fast, and so enough through the constant oscillating of its head. Something falls. I kneel, inspecting the ground below. In the sea of dirt and pebbles faintly illuminated by the oil lamp, I managed to spot it. A tooth. Looking up at Armillaria confirmed obvious it was its right canine tooth that fell. Was that it? Seriously? You could have gotten the same result by using your hand, your knee even. You're so incredibly unaware of your body, it baffles the mind. You're the most brain-dead human I have ever had the displeasure of meeting. Armillaria looks down, scanning the floor for its tooth. I doubt its feeble human eyes could ever make it out from the additional noise. At this very moment, its stance could be aptly called that of a scolded animal. It is an unpleasant sight. Although I find human life to be of little importance, I take no pride in making them miserable in this manner. That's not an attitude expected from someone in my position, is it? Do forgive me, all this work is distracting me from my purpose. No, never mind, it is fine. It would be foolish of me to argue with the likes of you. Pay attention, Armillaria. In order to stay here for any reason, you must prove yourself to be of use. Still kneeling, I raise an index finger to Armillaria's face. I wiggle and move it briefly, ensuring that its eyes are following it. I need you to stay focused for this one. Are you seeing the finger in front of you? Armillaria nods, the most understandable thing it has done in a while. I want you to go. Then slowly, I distance the finger from its face and proceed to point it to the west side wall. There. Are you still following? Do you understand where I'm pointing at? And once again, this little collaboration of ours brings me a satisfying feeling. Alright, here's your task for today. I need you to search that wall for the Monotropa uniflora. I don't think she knows what that is. A Monotropa uniflora, understood? That should not be a difficult thing to find at all. It walks away to proceed with its task. I sigh in relief. Not only because it actually understood the assignment, but also because it was not stupid enough to not know what a Monotropa uniflora is. In all honesty, I cannot say for certain whether or not plants are able to grow within the confines of my room. I have assigned this task to Armillaria merely to keep it occupied. A Monotropa or uniflora would be appreciated, but is not an absolute necessity. With that out of the way, I can go on with my work unbothered. In all the higher plants, we obtain what is known as division of labor. So we have like reproduction of a plant. I don't think this is a plant though. It seems like shrooms, mycelium, fungi. Because those are the only things that like fruiting bodies. That's because it talks about fruiting and it talks about spores. That's like a mushroom thing, right? Each special part of the plant has some distinct work to perform. Oh, it's slime modes. You see it? The leaves from these materials form sugar, starch, cellulose, and proteids. The stem conducts the water from the roots to the leaves. I think we can read it now. Figure 26, life cycle of a mycete. DK, withdrawn from Copenhagen. State University of Iowa Teacher's Guide, Slime Modes, 1961. So where does it start? I don't know. But there's a thing that says meiosis. A thing that says haplophase and diplophase. I guess we'll start with the diplophase. There's something zygote. Young plasmidium. Older plasmodium. And it starts to fruit. And goes through... Oh wait, no, we're supposed to start at A. I get it now. So after fructifications, which is L, we have A, which is spore, and it germinates, and then it turns into two different things, where you have the myzomoeba? That's C, and then it cell divides, while simultaneously you have like the swarm cell, that's like D. And then there's plasmogamy, where I guess they merge, they find like a wife, husband, spouse of the same kind. And then that's where the diplophase starts. Weird. The leaves take in carbon dioxide, and the roots collect water and minerals. The striking attributes which especially characterize plants as living bodies and by which they can be distinguished from non-living bodies are: 1. From time to time, food is taken in and the plant grows. 2. Movements are carried out by the plant for its benefit. 3. Certain parts of the plant are separated and these parts produce new individuals. I forgot what that abbreviation's for, but it's like something like in essence, I guess. I don't remember what the Latin was, sorry. Reproduction takes place. My vision unfocuses, the object in my hands no longer feeling like the entirety of the world. It must have been a good couple of hours, the peace and quiet allowing me to focus. Come to think of it, why was it so peaceful all this time? I look over to Armillaria as to confirm that it hasn't disappeared without a trace. It's still there facing the dirt wall, an intense concentration you do not often see in its kind. It's about time I check up on its task. Yo, what's up? Armillaria. A Upon closer inspection, a strange sight can be observed. From its right hand held to the wall, every finger except the thumb is buried halfway into the wall. What exactly are you attempting now? Huh. I should know better than to try and question you. Well, you may stop your search. The task was never to be completed to begin with. This entire time, as if completely disconnected from this realm, our malaria has never broken its focus on the wall. Do you think this test subject, this unfortunate test subject, has gained a connection to the fungi in the walls or something? And it's communicated. It's communicating. Because there's a theme about the mycelium growing. Maybe they're connected to the system. Being reminded that humans are not ones to comply, I take matters into my own hands. With moderate carefulness, I grab Armilaria's hand and pull it out of the wall. It does not resist, neither does it concern itself with this action. Eventually, the hand is completely released, dry dirt and dust covering the fingers. Upon further inspection, a peculiar detail is noticed. Armillaria, what are these red dots just below the fingernails? You silly, did you inflict these on yourself? How many times have I advised against such a thing? I have been warning you for the longest time. I have no means of sanitization. If you come down with any disease, you will be entirely to blame. Sensing that its worth has returned to a drastic low, it turns around to leave. Armillaria, wait just a minute. While it was also the intention, I applaud your ability to stay put and allow me to work for once. And you see us equaliators believe in rewarding the positive effort of lower beings, so... Wait here just a moment. I must go grab something for the cabinet. There are many cabinets. Well, knowing exactly when I placed it, I reach for it and... I take the jar with me. This will be Armilaria's reward. Is this like your jaw? Are we giving your jaw back? Here you go. Your jaw. The remains of it, at least. I mean, I'm not intending on stitching it back, and it's hardly in the condition for me to do so, but I believe you would have wanted it back. Not an utmost heartfelt reunion, I see. This is what I get for treating these animals as individuals. That's all. Now leave. And lay on the hardwood of the table. I am of the conviction that such a surface is more beneficial to lay on than the softness of a mattress, although my tall stature leaves my lower legs hanging. Looking at the ceiling, roots of undeterminate species can be observed in spots. Unwillingly, I begin imagining the plants these roots belong to, and inherently, the surface these plants exist in. There's no such thing as a surface, and outside of a room. A room is its own finite space in the universe, designed and meant merely for the completion of specific equaliators' purposes. Individuals such as myself exist solely in these dedicated spaces, and the conditions for other beings to enter a room are often very specific. In my case, the condition for a human to enter my room is, through any circumstance, to be buried alive in the ground. Wait, do you think she was, like, on the verge of dying because of her jaw rotting off or something, and they buried her alive in the ground because they're like, oh, we don't want anything to do with this anymore, and that's how she came here, this room. The interval of this occurrence has always been a decently long one, but as of late, it feels as if it is getting smaller, yet smaller. That means there's a lot of people getting buried alive. And well, it has been a useful circumstance, but I could have gone without it just as well. Well, it won't matter for long. If everything is to go well, our malaria is going to be the last one. The roots have matured, but the tendrils will continue to grow. The mycelium grows. Oh, it's getting real long. Necessity for reproduction. This is, Labyrinthula Is that a T or an L? I think that's a T. Vitellia of Vitellina? Spindle-shaped cells with slime filaments? Hitherto, the means by which plants maintain their individual lives have alone been considered. The limited duration of the life of a single plant is known to everyone. Plants are not only preyed on by slugs, but larger animals also use them for food, and countless parasites too live on them. Plants also struggle among themselves for food and light. It's called competition. In forests, that's a thing, because you have really tall plants, really tall trees, and they kind of block out the light for other trees. The tiny trees that cannot get the light. Plants live, die, and new ones take their place. Given this fact that plants die, the subject of reproduction becomes of vital interest because it is of the only way, as far as known, by which these new individuals can be produced. All existing plants are the descendants of ancestral forms. It is complete. The culmination of my work, the fruit of my labor. A seed covered by a thick, wood-like layer with pointy ends growing outward. This just sounds like a mango seed, dude. Or like any large tree seed. This is it, the proposed means of eradicating nothingness. If my every effort to create it is to result in something, there is one more thing required of me to do. Are you gonna shove it into our malaria? Our malaria watches me with the same disinterest on its face. I had welcomed it into my study room, but I had not let it know the reason why. Our malaria, do you wish for your life to gain meaning? For a reason behind your existence? In your entire human life, you have achieved nothing. You could have ceased to exist at any point in time, and not one thing would have changed. As you stand now, the universe at large will not mourn your loss. The entirety of your existence was minuscule, beyond belief. A grain of sand not one being will ever notice. But now, I am offering you a chance to matter. An opportunity to shred your human skin and offer yourself to a greater cause. I kinda get why she doesn't care, like, at all anymore. Cause, like, if she was buried alive, they thought she was dead. There's nothing for her to go back to. Or malaria. I held the seed in front of it. You consume the seed and end the existence of nothingness. Okay, maybe she does have something to go back to. That is not a face that says consent. The activation of the seed required not only the body heat of a living being, but also for the seed coat to dissolve in gastric acid. That was always in the design, the intended method. That's also the reason why I kept our malaria alive and well. Your human body, with all of its features and flaws, is demanded for the fulfillment of my purpose. In an uncharacteristic manner, our malaria backs away from my outreaching hands, its face contorting with panic. This is why you shouldn't tell your evil plans to people. Just do it. All these evil scientists are like, I'm going to create zombies that the world has never seen before in an attempt to create immortality, because technically zombies are immortal because they're already dead. Do you think people are just gonna sit there and let you do that? No. Just, if you're gonna go do something crazy and stupid and evil, just go do it. They all have to monologue first. Your hesitation does not concern me. This demand of mine is the only reason you are still alive. This is not a request. You will do it. You will be the final step in my plan. As expected. And then the human instinct is driving you away from danger's way. It does not concern me. If doing it willingly is not an option, it will have to be applied by force. Or just get cool then. we just like leave? Is there anything else to interact with? You just kind of stood there for a moment. Ah, the resistance it displayed was pointless. The scenario was to occur no matter what the means. I hold Armillaria down. It squirms under my grasp, throwing me a pleading look. Dang it, I should have checked like the inventory first before this. With a knee holding down its arms and torso, I begin undoing the bandages around its neck. Just as I left it, I revealed a giant gaping hole going halfway down her neck, leaving a spacious entrance to its respiratory system. Holding down its head, I reach out for the seed. Its movements grow more erratic, tears filling up its eyes. Before a moment of doubt could cloud my judgment, I buried the seed down Armillaria's maw. It made a horrible squelching sound, its body rejecting the foreign object. It also began convulsing violently, making me consider the seed coat's end scratching its esophagus. At this point, if this doesn't work, a million thoughts were swirling in my mind, the familiar dread returning to me. Have you done this before? But right as I was approaching the apogee of my despair, I think it's growing. She looks very miserable. Long, thin lines emerge from Armillaria's discovered gape. They twitch and dilate, letting out loud sounds of crackling. Quicker than I could perceive, they began growing thicker and spreading out. It is working? Tendrils of a root, searching for stable ground to get buried into, something they will never find. In their desperate search for a foundation that never existed, they will grow, spreading out, leaving no cranny of this room undiscovered. Fill in every gap, every ounce of air and space, until nothing will be able to exist within anymore. No room for nothingness to fill. This is it. This is my solution to the existence of nothingness, and leaving no room for it to exist. Feast your eyes, you who has watched my entire existence. The task for which you have created me has been completed. This is proof of my worth, of my capability to handle the responsibility. My purpose has been fulfilled. I did it. The goal of my existence. I have reached it. The goal of my being. The threshold I had to pass. During the many times I envisioned this moment, I imagined myself letting out a more excited cheer. But right now, with the sorry sight in front of me, such an action felt impossible. Do not look so sad, Armillaria. The roots will wash away, and a new world will rise from underneath. A pure world of inconceivable beauty, where you will be allowed to feel the grass underneath your feet, where the soil allows flowers to thrive, where your kind does not have to hide underground, away from deadly sunlight. A world where you too will be happy. That is all you must believe in. I will make it happen. This will be my promise to you. With the little space the roots allowed, I reached out and grabbed Armillaria's hand. It was shaky, frantic, hopelessly trying to escape my grasp. Your kind will flourish. Your existence will be celebrated. So, rest well, Armillaria. Let us meet again under the bright blue sky. Art, writing, programming, alts. Music, Mycelium, Dova Syndrome. Talsets, Candasis, Celiana, White Dragon, Plugin, all these people who you've probably seen before. Proofreading, Sugar Chamomile. Game made for the Toasty Jam 2. Thank you for playing. I just want to see if there's like a thing there to check our inventory. No, seat's not there. For a short game, this is pretty fun actually. you kind of figure that something terrible is gonna happen to the poor person who got abducted. Well, technically she got buried alive and fell into this room, I guess. But I do like how self-contained it is and how the world building works. It does give you everything that you need to know, while also like you can see how this could be expanded on. I do find it a little bit weird that it's like the mycelium grows, but it was actually more about plants and it was about fungi. Because mycelium is fungi, right? And the roots were clearly not from fungi, they were more from trees, plants, all that. But anyway, this was pretty fun, so thank you for watching.